the key is to match with the job description. So your resume has to be super relevant for this job description. So how to make your resume relevant? You have to read the job description several times. Check points that you have in your resume, highlight those points. Highlight your experience that would be crucial for this specific job. Highlight in your resume and remove anything else that's not relevant. So just focus your recruiter on the most demanding skills.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. We have a guest here, Anna Naumova. She's a product manager and has some experience working with B2C and B2B products. She's ex-Apple product manager and built some web-based tools and mobile apps and worked on launching a social network in Europe. Just to name a few things that you've done in your career. And you're also a career coach and mentor, working with tech professionals and helping them with their job search and build skills and adjust with the jobs for product management. And you also help people who come, who are new in this country, who come from Europe and Latin America, and help them adjust here and settle. So that's a lot of things on your plate that you do. And and today I wanted to invite you and talk about product management in general and job market and job search, some trends. And you as an expert can help answer a few questions that I have and maybe somebody else will have. Welcome, Anna. And before we jump in, if you want to add anything else or maybe share some of your journey, that would be great.
Yeah, hi, Vit, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the great introduction. You actually covered like a lot that I'm doing. Yeah, I'm a principal product manager right now at Oxygen Company. So far, I'm working there. Also, I'm a business owner and host and of an author of the podcast about job search in the US. I also coaching product managers and people who want to improve their career journey, get more money, get a job offer in the US, etc. So, and my background, I've been working as a product manager for 10 years. I started my career in the social network in Europe, one of the largest social networks in Europe. And I'm also a marathon runner, single mom,
Wow.
and cat owner.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot. All right, well, let's jump in and start with talking about product management stuff here. So let's talk about first in some of the qualifications that currently are hot on the market. What are companies looking for when they're looking for product managers?
Mm-hmm. I would probably split product managers in like two buckets. Product managers who's individual contributors, like it include like product managers, senior product managers, and like associate product managers. I'm not talking about a social product manager. It's a different topic because it's usually people with 1-2 years of experience, like junior product managers. They usually do a lot of like manual stuff, like research, like data, like analysis, something like you can do like manually. Product managers, like regular and senior product managers, are usually responsible for implementing, driving the product, like already like on this more strategic vision and level. And also I'm talking like the second bucket is product managers who are in leadership position, people managers who are actually managing other product managers. That bucket includes VP of product, CPO, director of product, like, and all that leadership stuff that mostly focusing on like a strategy, product strategy, and like people management, managing their team of product managers. So I think that your question probably about like regular product managers, so like a senior product managers. Okay. So the quality that's required in the US market for product managers, all product managers, is definitely a communication skills. You have to be a good communicator. You have to be a good presenter, because 80% of product management job is actually involve communication. You talk to people a lot as a product managers, with stakeholders, with your development team, like other teams, marketing team, sales, your customers, your clients, partners, like whoever, like 90%, like 80-90% of your job is actually communication. That's like a first and very like critical stuff. The second one is definitely strategic vision. You should not be like a super like on a leadership position, but you have to understand where your product is going. You have to identify this goal, like some values of your product, where you're going to be in like few years, and all the strategic part, who's your clients, what their problems, and drive your team toward this goal. So you have to understand your future, like, or imagine your future, design your future, something. And the last one I think is super important is the leadership skills, because product managers, they do have like product manager definition has word manager, but they're not actually a manager. They don't have authority to kind of fire people, lay off people, etc. So you have to manage your team without authority. And what helps you is your leadership skills. You have to push your team like independent, like individual contributors, like developers, designers, marketers, QA, like all your team, to move towards what you need, like towards your goal. So, and you cannot use like your power. You have to influence them using your leadership skills, charisma, analysis, your ability to explain, your ability to motivate your team, encourage your team to do your job. Their job,
see.
not your job.
Okay. Looks like those three areas are the top, should be the top focus for somebody who wants to break into this job, and communication and leadership, and also the strategy, the vision, long-term vision for this.
And here, you can probably notice that all those skills are soft skills. Product managers definitely have to have like a hard skills, like including analytics. Like some product managers are required to have design skills, technical skills. So, but hard skills is easy to acquire if you have a soft skills. And hard skills usually depends on the company. Some company needs specific technology to know. Like, for example, if you work for, I don't know, like ChatGPT, I assume they would require AI knowledge. But if you work for marketplace, they probably require something like different technical skills and other skills. So hard skills usually are usually different from company to company, and technology they use, and you can acquire pretty easily. So you need to pass the course, and you don't need to code as a product manager, but you need to understand how the specific product works, like from the technical perspective. But you can learn it. You can learn it. But soft skills is the hardest one. It does a lot of time to acquire soft skills. It takes, I don't know, years to be a good listener, good presenter, good communicator, good leader, etc. So that's why I focus mostly on soft skills and less than to technical skills. But technical skill definitely is necessary. So I don't want your listeners think that, oh, this is like not a product manager's job. Like,
This is very funny, because that's what I usually tell to my teams as well. And I say, guys, like, if you need to pick up a new programming language, or we need to learn a new, I don't know, cloud technology or whatever, it's easy. It's so easy to do these days. Not rocket science anymore. But if you need to
Exactly. Yeah.
communicate, if you need to convince somebody to follow you, that's where that's the hardest part. So yeah, for somebody who wants to start doing this job, that's what they should practice, and that's what they should pay attention to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So, which leads me to the next question about hard skills now. Are there any demand for any specific hard skills in product management that companies are looking for? Is there a trend that?
Yeah, there are some trends. For example, right now it's a machine learning, artificial intelligence trend. So if you open look for a job, you probably find a lot of requirements. These requirements, AI, ML, for
Yeah.
product managers. But they are not looking for someone who code. They're looking for someone who understands how it works. What is AI? What's the neural network are? Well, how to use it actually? And do I really need to use AI for my product? Or is just like a trendy stuff, trendy buzzwords like I can use just because it's like trendy. Yeah. So you need
Right.
to, you have to have your critical thinking for that. So that's why a lot of product managers, I see the trend like adding AI ML to their resumes and LinkedIn without even understanding why do they need it. So, and if we talk about like general knowledge for product manager, it's definitely good to know analytics. So not every company requires to know analytics, but it's definitely one of the critical technical skills, hard skills for product managers. And again, you don't need to be data science. You don't need to use SQL. So some company requires SQL. Some company does not. Like the majority of companies don't need SQL, SQL knowledge, but they require you to understand metrics because the metrics can showcase your that you're data driven, that you're goal oriented, and you achieve your goals. How you can prove that you achieve your goals by just showing your metric and show that you achieve this metric. So that's why analytical skills are important for product managers. So what else? It's good to know if you can. It's good skills if you can create mock-ups, like wireframes, and like draw something like design diagrams for your flow, like website. Very very helpful. Scheme diagrams. Interviewing skills to conduct user research, also super helpful for product managers. Some company require that. Also not 100% critical, but it's definitely good to have that. Some company requires programming skills. Not again, not everyone, but like also if you want to work for a technical product manager, is probably would be like a required skills. So it really depends on the company and their needs. So some company requires presentation skills, like creating presentations. So for example, I don't know, like companies like Apple, where you should present your work in front of all companies or in front of your team. So you have to create presentation. You should be able to do that without asking your designers to do that for you. So it's a lot of hands-on work you have to do, even like digging into like data, conduct research, create a form, create a survey. I don't know, like do whatever you need to do without involving your team. That's like scope of work for product managers. Yeah. So prioritization, prioritization also, it's like required skills for product managers. You can use specific framework like, oh my God, I forgot. RISE, sorry, like RISE, reach, impact, effort, and confidence. That's like framework you can use for prioritization. You can use another frameworks for that, but just like different skills.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's a good list. Some people can pick and choose, depends on the company, you just have to research, based on industry, based on company, the size of the company, maybe, because
Yeah.
sometimes you join a smaller company and you have to wear multiple hats.
Exactly. Yeah, it really
Yeah.
depends on the company size. Like for startup, you have to do a lot. You have to do probably like all work as a
Yeah.
product manager. So you can be like a QA. You have to test. You have to design. You have to talk to your clients. You have to be sales and marketing managers, etc. Like in small companies. In bigger companies, your responsibilities are like more narrow, focusing on specific parts and. It depends, especially if you work for example, for internal tools, like building something, enterprise tools for your company. You don't even need to do like research. You might not have data because you have, I don't know, 100 employees. So that's not like that quantity of data you can use, like check
Right.
via Google Analytics. Yeah. So, and you have
Yeah.
to like understand how you would measure your results. It's probably communication. It's probably like qualitative research. You would go to your users because it's your peers working on your company and ask them like some questions. So it depends. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So let's talk about some job search tips and tricks, if we can. So, what would be some of the strategies that people can use to start, where to start, basically?
Mm-hmm. And here's my question. Now we're talking about American market.
Yeah, here in US. Yeah.
Okay. So first, I would think is visa status. It's critical right now. So if you are not living in the U.S., if you don't have work authorization, I would recommend to start with that and think about how would you get this permission to work, because companies, at least so far, are not interested in issuing visa for you and sponsor visa for you. So that's a crucial topic. If you don't have work permit in the US, you have to think about it. And you have a bunch of options of that. For example, like a visa O1 or EB1. That's a great visa for talented people who work in tech. Especially for product managers, it's probably the most, I cannot say like affordable visa, but like feasible visa. Yeah, feasible visa for product managers. Yeah, it's O1 or EB2. So O1 is a visa, temporary, and EB1 is green card. So just like depends on
I see.
your
Okay.
skill set. Yeah, if you super talented, you can apply for a green card. If you have concerns about your talents, you can apply for O1 visa. So that's like, I think, my recommendation for product managers to dig into this area to acquire a visa and work permit in the US. So let's say you do have a work permit in the US and visa is not an issue for you. So the second step is your resume. Resume is a crucial step. It's top of the funnel for any job seeker in the US, because it's how your employer actually selects you from the pool of candidates. And your resume has to be perfect, ideal match for this position, especially now when the market is super competitive. There are like 1,000 applicants for one position, especially if it's top tier companies. So you have to be the best from the best for that. How to be the best from the best? Definitely to keep specific guidelines and templates for American resume. It's very specific. It's pretty lean, pretty boring, I can say. It's no customization, no beautiful pictures, no personal information, photos. It's usually very scheme and lean, and consists of very specific your achievement, your work experience for specific job. So the key is to match with the job description. So your resume has to be super relevant for this job description. So how to make your resume relevant? You have to read the job description several times. Check points that you have in your resume, highlight those points, highlight your experience that would be crucial for this specific job, highlight in your resume, and remove anything else that's not relevant. So just focus your recruiter on the most demanding skills. So what might be an issue for the majority of candidates is domain expertise, domain knowledge. It's very important right now for product managers. So like 5 years ago, it wasn't so crucial, but right now, since there are many candidates on the market and market is very competitive, the employee are more likely to select someone with this specific domain knowledge. For example, if you have experience working in marketplace, you would rather be selected by companies like Amazon or eBay or Etsy. If you don't have this experience, you are more likely to be rejected because there are so many other candidates that has similar experience. Yeah. And for employer, it's more kind of they're interested on people who already have this knowledge. They don't want to spend their time on your education and wait for you when you acquire this knowledge, domain knowledge. So that's why domain knowledge is very critical right now for employer and for candidates, like to showcase your domain knowledge. And the second one is definitely your skills and experience. If job description requires, I don't know, AI knowledge, like for some reason there is a product that require artificial intelligence, you have to show that you have this knowledge, like practical knowledge, not just like a general understanding, but you have experience working with AI on your previous job.
Yeah.
So that's like, you have to be a perfect candidate. So unicorn, yeah. Employers are looking for a unicorn right now, and they can afford that because so many candidates on the market. So tie your resume, tie your experience to specific jobs, and maybe like vice versa. So when you think about your experience, create a list of companies or projects that would be the best fit for your experience. For example, I have a lot of experience working with B2C, consumer, social networks, some entertainment. I also have hobbies like running. I'm a good runner and I run a lot. I use a lot of Strava and some running tools. I very fitness oriented person. So I like educating people. I like coaching people. I'm involved in recruitment as well. So this is my domain knowledge. I know these domains a lot. So I can apply for companies like LinkedIn, for example. It's a perfect fit for me. I've never worked for LinkedIn, but since my blog is about recruitment, about the job search, I have a lot of knowledge of that. So, or for example, I can apply for Strava, the application for runners, because I use, I'm a user. I know, like, I'm a part of running community. I'm a race ambassador. I'm involved in that business, this industry. So I can apply for that and show this part of my life. Or I can apply my experience from social network when I apply to Meta and say, okay, I used to work at the largest social network in Eastern Europe. And I know how it works. I know how to bring value for you. So that's like a perfect companies for me. Not which company are not good for me. It's, for example, I don't know, health tech. Yeah, I've never worked for health tech. Yeah, like hospitals. I have no idea what's going on there. Like, or I don't know, like maybe specific financial application. That's not, or very technical. Be a platform manager for like a API, for example. That's not my strength. I would not apply for these companies for this position because that's not my strength. So also as a seeker, as a product manager, think about your ideal companies, ideal jobs, and apply for them. Spend time on that rather than spreading your resume to companies that not relevant for you.
Yeah, there are higher chances of getting in if you have domain knowledge or you have um, uh, just good knowledge about that area. That's for sure. That's a very good tip. Yeah. So what about networking and personal branding? How those things can help? If, for example, somebody's new and don't really have knowledge, or maybe they're trying to change industries, how does networking and personal branding play?
Yeah, that's super important, especially in the US. I personally found 4 out of 5 my jobs in the US using my network by recommendation. So that's and only one job I got when I applied on the job job sites. So that's why I think having a friends and like people in this industry is super crucial. And I know it might be hard for people who are not super communicative or who are just moving to the US. And I have 2 tips for that. First tip, if you are just relocating to the US, you can use people from your origin, from your country. So there are a lot of people from Eastern Europe. You can start with them. You can start networking with people who speak your language from your country, from your area. So, and you have a lot of in common to start kind of your relationship with. So that's the easiest way for you. And I bet like each company has people who can speak your language. So especially top tier companies, like there are a bunch of people from Eastern Europe. So like start with that, from that. And the second tip, start adding people on LinkedIn. Just start just adding people like you are like that are interesting for you. For example, if you're a product manager and you want to work for Meta, start adding Meta's product managers. Just add them, and that's it. You don't need to like grab coffee with them. Just build your kind of connection first, and then the next step is start like commenting their post, reacting their post. I don't know, asking for advice, starting like being closer to them. Yeah, I know that some people can reject you, but yeah, if you add like 100 people from Meta, product managers from Meta, 50% reject you, and no worries, you still have 50% who would be interested to talk to you. Like maybe at least like chat with you, and maybe 10%, 10 people really want to share a phone call, like have a phone call with you or Zoom call and just talk to you. Start doing that. And there are a bunch of people here.
That may seem very strange to some people, and I was in the same category until like a couple years ago. I would not talk to strangers. I would not reply to whoever was asking me on social media or whatever. But now it's different, and I encourage everybody to follow this. If you want to start advancing in your career or you building your network and things like that, you have to reach out. You have to like do this first step. It's like in dating, right? If you have a person who you like, you need to go and do first step and try to attract attention. And otherwise, it's not going to work. That person may never pay attention to you and never, say anything. So
absolutely,
yeah. It just need to get out of your shell and talk to people. Yeah, that's great.
Right. Yeah.
So are there any other than networking and trying to build your perfect resume, are there any other techniques, maybe like I don't know, anything, job searches, in job searches like meetups, or is there any specific websites to use for applications? Any of that nature, any of that tips?
I don't think that I'll give something unique. So LinkedIn is still the main site for the job search. There are a bunch of other alternatives, but I talk to people a lot who got a job offer recently, and the tool number one is LinkedIn. And
Interesting.
what they usually do is to apply, prepare for the interviews, and just spend a lot of time. Like consider like this preparation part. Not everyone spend a lot of time on preparation, but preparing for the interview is a very important step. For example, I had an interview with iOS developer. She just got a job offer at Meta, and she spent 100 hours on preparation for Meta.
Wow.
100. Yeah. So just think about it. Yeah. So how serious you should take this preparation if you want to have a really good job offer and like top tier company. So that's crucial part. So the people who succeed in their job search usually prepare a lot. They do like if you developers go to LeetCode and do these tasks. So she did like 250 tasks on LeetCode. So if you product managers do mock interviews, go to try Exponent and practice because the majority of your questions on the interview would be very typical. It would be product design questions like design something, improve the autopilot for Tesla, improve, I don't know, like the chair, design a running shoes for senior people. Yeah, whatever they can ask you, like any type of question. But the framework for answering those questions are the same. So you have to be familiar with this framework. You have to feel comfortable answering those questions without like be nervous and thinking about, oh, what should I answer here? No, just go to
Okay.
some websites for mock interviews and practice. Or the second type of questions are like behavioral questions. It's about your past experience. For example, tell me about a time you disagreed with your manager. Tell me about a time you motivated your team. Tell me about a time you dealt with strict deadlines. So that type of question referring to your past and why interviewers ask you those questions, because they want to understand how you would behave in their company. How would you manage those situations in their company? And the questions are super typical. You can go to Glassdoor and check top 10 questions that ask for specific companies. So it's super transparent. The process in the US, hiring process and the interviewing process in the US, is usually super transparent. You can Google, you can understand like everything. What you need to do is practice and prepare.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Do you have any tips in your podcast that people can go and listen to?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So my podcast consists of the stories from successful people who succeed during the job search. And they share their tips and hints, but they usually like the same, like resume, networking, and preparation, and be
Yeah.
this unicorn, be ideal candidate for your company, potential
Yeah.
company. So yeah, and
Okay.
I talk a lot about resumes. I talk about like some psychological parts. Like for example, I love this topic. Like I don't have achievements, so my role is like I'm a software engineer. I don't have achievement. I can measure my achievement in numbers. I can set metrics for my achievements. No, you can. Yeah. So that's like a separate topic because resume, it's your kind of outfit. Yeah. But what's
Yeah.
inside? What's inside? Yeah. It's your belief in yourself. So your feelings, your confidence. That's you showcase in your resume. So, but if you have understanding of your achievement, of your role, if you confident, you can easily create a resume. But the problem is that like most people are not confident. Most people have imposter syndromes. They cannot accept their achievement. They devalue their achievement. They say that they don't have achievement. They are not proud of their work, etc. So that's like a super like different topic. I usually I like working with that because everyone has achievements. Every role has achievement, and every job can be measured. Yeah. So you have to just think about it.
Yeah. What I find sometimes is that people who are very good at doing something, it's easy for them and they don't consider it as an achievement. But for somebody
True.
else, it may be extremely hard to do. So,
Yes.
and they don't highlight these things. They just completely ignore it. But that's how others sees them. And like, this person is extremely good at this. But when they write a resume, they're like, oh, that's like nothing.
Yeah, that's why you need someone to help you. If you have this issue, ask
Right.
at least your friends. I don't know, at least people like your colleagues, someone to help you with that, to understand your achievements. Or you can go to the career coach and like work on that with the coach. So, but if you don't want to spend money, like go to someone you know, like your friends, and ask them to help you. So you need someone to look at your work and your achievement from like a different angle, independent angle, and said, "Oh, come on, Vit, you have a lot of achievement. Come on, yeah, I
Right.
cannot do that. Yeah, you are super talented. You did a lot. Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of resumes, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see that people do in their resumes?
Oh yeah, that's like a lot, but I can say like the biggest one is the resume are not tied to the job description, and especially with titles. Yeah, they're a mess with titles. Like for example, product managers. Yeah, I see a lot of people like mentioning I'm a project manager or product manager or program manager or like scrum master, like, and this is in one resume. But I said no, product manager and project manager are two different titles, two different jobs, and requires two different skill sets. No, you cannot promote yourself as a product and project manager. No, that's absolutely wrong. So if you have these skills and if you have this experience in the past, just create two resumes. One is for project manager and describe all your achievement related to project management. What is project management? You usually have to deal with like strict deadlines and deliver your product on time and in like the best quality. That's the perfect, I don't know, achievement for project managers, like on time, great quality, great timeline, like very detail oriented, like scheduling, like everything. This is a project manager. If you have this achievement skill set, please create a separate resume. Product manager, mostly focusing on strategic side, like user research, market research, competitive research, like creating like a vision, roadmap, like etc. This is absolutely different skill set. So you might be very bad project manager being a good product manager. So that's why, and vice versa. You can be very great project manager, but you cannot be great like product manager because you are not like, maybe you don't have this strategic vision and you cannot like zoom in, zoom out and look at your product from the like top perspective. Like, so that's two absolutely different roles. And what I commonly see is just it's messing up in one resume. That's and I can say about other jobs. So like similar position, like for example, designer, yeah, product designer and like designer, like illustrator. Absolutely two different skill set. Product designer usually has to have that great UX skills. Illustrator has to write, like draw pictures very well. And it's not like it's two different skill sets. You cannot be the best like UX designer and like illustrator. So like, please, if you do have these skill sets, please separate it and apply for two different jobs, like etc. So that's like the biggest mistake. People cannot focus. And also like some tiny portions of that, like also like, you know, focus on the job description, your location. Sometimes if it's on-site job, they're looking for someone in this specific state and this specific city. Just change that. If you consider to relocate to the city, just don't let your interviewer thinking about it, like your recruiter thinking about it. Just put that location on your resume. Experience, education, skill set, technical skills. So it has to be in your resume. If it's missing in your resume, you're more likely to be rejected because you're not like tied to this specific position. So that's the most common mistake I see on the resume.
So LinkedIn being the one of the best or the best platform to apply for jobs, how can you manage multiple resumes and having a single LinkedIn profile? Because employers or recruiters, they will look you up on LinkedIn, and if I have different versions of resume that I send, how can I make like one generic LinkedIn profile? Does it even matter?
So not everyone actually look at your LinkedIn. So because like think from the recruiter's perspective. You're a recruiter at a company like X. You post a job description like somewhere, job posting, yeah? And you started gathering resumes through the ATS system, like application tracking system. You don't even think about their LinkedIn. The first step you need to pass through is this ATS system. Your resume should be selected, filtered by this system. So like by the time the recruiter actually look at your resume and maybe click on the LinkedIn, it's going to be a lot of time. Yeah, from that you would be already selected. So that's why I should not like take just pay a lot of attention on that. So and spend a lot of time. So that's just my first suggestion. And the second one, you still have to focus on something. You cannot be a sales manager, possess yourself like as a sales manager and I don't know, marketing manager and product manager. Yeah. That's kind of bullshit. Yeah. You have to understand who you are. Yeah. So yeah, if you have like product and project, like similar experience, just list it out on your LinkedIn. It's not a big deal. But if you like have absolutely different experience, I would rather remove irrelevant experience. If you don't want to be like a sales manager, just remove this experience and like focus on something that's important for you.
Yeah, so there has to be focus. First, you have to decide for where you want to be and tailor everything towards that, and don't spread yourself thin. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, because that's what my personal thing is about LinkedIn and having multiple resumes. Because I used to do that, and what I mean, I'm not applying right now, but when I was applying for jobs, I was tailoring resumes, and then I like, oh, but my LinkedIn is the same, or my whatever monster.com or whatever the other one is just one instance. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. Don't worry about that. Just get selected first and then worry about it later.
Yeah. And the last maybe advice is, if you just really worried about your LinkedIn, just rename yourself. Like for example, your resume is with Lyoshin, but your LinkedIn can be with L. And just like, I don't know, remove your profile picture. This is so your recruiter won't be able to find you. If you're really worried about your LinkedIn, just do something that they cannot easily find you. Yeah. and don't put your LinkedIn profile on your resume. So it's not required by recruiter to have LinkedIn. It's nice to have.
Sure.
It's nice for you to have this profile looking great, but it's not a requirement for the job search. So
yeah, resume is still number one, right? The first stop.
Absolutely. Care about your resume, not about your like LinkedIn. If you're applying for specific companies, LinkedIn is mostly for inbound. So LinkedIn is good to optimize for recruiters to reach out to you. So that's absolutely like perfect like tool. But if you do an outbound, like sending your resume, like resume is number one. And anyway, when a recruiter reach out to you, they more likely to ask you to send their resume anyway.
And they
sometimes,
still ask for that.
they ask for resume. And even if you have kind of diverse profile, you can ask your recruiter, because recruiter, when they reach out to you, they probably like your profile. So you can ask, okay, I have this experience. Should I like remove this specific experience, and should I keep that? And they can recommend you. So, for example, I have my own company on my LinkedIn, but not every employer likes that. So, and I can ask a recruiter, like I asked my previous recruiter, like for the company I was hired for, he asked me to send the resume. And I said, I have two resumes for leadership position and for like individual contributor. What would you like me to send you? And he said, individual contributor. Yeah. Because I applied for IC role, not for leadership role. So that's kind of recruiter can also help you with that.
Okay. I mean, they have interest in placing a person
Absolutely.
too, right?
Yeah.
So they should be able to help. That's their job. Okay. That's a great thing to keep in mind. Okay. So my next question is about remote work and hybrid work and on-site. There is this trend right now that, well, I don't know, but at least here in Washington, D.C., where I am, even like looking at the traffic in the mornings, everybody's going back to the office. Is this like everywhere right now that you see? Are we really going back to office eventually, or you think still hybrid remote stay here for quite some time, and what people should expect?
Yeah, that's true. That's a trend right now, and I see this trend after COVID. Companies started asking people to come back to the offices. And for example, in my previous company, Apple, they required employees to start going to the office. Started from like May or June last year. Or no, 2 years ago. So, but I don't think that it's going to be 100% like on site. So some companies still have some benefits from remote works. For example, they don't need to pay for the office, like all those expenses.
Right.
And they also can hire people all around the US. And they're not limited to specific location. So that's like a lot of pros and cons for the companies. Big companies usually ask their employees to go to the office, like Meta, Apple, Google, Amazon. And I've heard a lot of stories that people had to quit their job just because they didn't want to like move to other state, like other city, and they wanted to work remotely, but the company did not allow them to do that. So, and I know a lot of examples that people still work remotely. I do work remotely. So my headquarters is in New York, New Jersey, actually, and I work from Texas. And I said, no, I'm not willing to relocate to New Jersey and New York. So, and I see that a lot of people like work remotely just because like companies save money on those people. If you do your job, if you don't need to sit with your team, if your team is also distributed, why not?
Yeah.
So
I work in the government agency now, and as a contractor, I'm not required to be in the office. If I want to, I can go. I still have my like place where to work, but I'm not required to be there 100%. Even like any percent. but federal employees, they're required to be on site for some amount of time. I don't remember which one it is.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
it's still mostly remote. So it depends. But like
It depends. Yeah,
looking at the traffic in the morning, like 2 years ago and 1 year ago, and right now, it's almost like pre-pandemic time.
yeah,
It's unbelievable how many people going to work
yeah,
now. So
yeah. Welcome
yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, welcome back. Exactly. I wonder what
Yeah.
happens to the people who got hired remotely and now they like being laid off, or they get stuck, or they have some options. It's a lot of. It's
Yeah.
complicated now. Yeah.
It's complicated, yeah. So Apple required to come to the office, and some people were laid off for that. So some people
Yeah.
relocate back to California because I'm in Austin, in Texas. Apple has a campus here, two big campuses, and they
Mm.
moved. So like during the pandemic, they moved people from California to Texas, and then they require people to move back to California. You know, so that's
Yeah.
like crazy, yeah, crazy. So
Yeah. I mean, if people get their place, like bought a house or something, now you have to like move again, and that's kind of
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Wow.
Meta
Okay.
is supposed to open office here in Austin, but during the pandemic they froze this project, and now they don't have like that planned office, big office here. So, and people who work here like probably had to either move to another state or like just quit their job or
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah, it could be challenging. Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody, all of us were affected by this. So, yeah. So, are there any like we talked about skills in the beginning a little bit, but are there any skills that product managers should look for to acquire in the future with all these trends? Like we talked about artificial intelligence, maybe, or maybe like remote work back to the office. Are there any skills to look for in the future that will become important?
Yeah, good question. I think definitely like technological trends should be considered. So like
Mm-hmm.
AI, ML, VR, like self-driving cars and all that stuff, like automation, all kind of, I don't know, like personalization, recommendation should be considered the product manager. And no code website, I think it's a trend right now, especially
Mm-hmm.
when during this time when the company wants to save money on engineers. So I see the trend that the company more likely to use like no code, especially small,
Mm.
like tiny startups, launch fast, save money, spend less, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and talking about like nowadays, product managers should be lean as well. Efficiency is a trend. Efficiency
Mm-hmm.
means spending less money. So far, yeah, like MVP approach, lean approach is a trend. You cannot think about like something super complicated. You, as a product manager, you have to learn how to uh, select a scope for your MVP, launch, measure, estimate, like all these small cycles, spending less and
Mm-hmm.
less time, less and less money on that. So, and trying to test your hypothesis without even involving coding. Like no code prototypes, user interviews, research, questionnaire, like forums, like whatever you can do,
Mm-hmm.
just even like fake button buy with a placeholder behind of that, also like a good test. So that, yeah,
Right.
you, so as a product manager you have to value each dollar your company spend on you. So that's, I think, would be, at least now it's a trend. Yeah, and
Yeah. Okay.
critical thinking, definitely. So I just remember the time like 5 years ago, like for Meta, they were looking for people like super creative. You don't need to think about money. So like question about like do we have budget limitation sounded really weird for them. Like no, we don't have like budget limitation. You can just, we are looking for your creativity. You have to be creative. You have to design design something like super innovative, super cool. Yeah. And now that's opposite. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Now, when hard times come, everybody start
Yeah.
counting money. Yeah, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that's good.
that's,
That's
yeah.
it. Also,
Yeah.
it requires to be relatively creative to be testing all these things and come up with
Hmm.
solutions that don't require a lot of effort from engineers and people in that area,
Yeah.
designers. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think remote work, I mean, remote not in the US, remote outside of the US, offshore team would be a trend as well because it's
Hmm.
cheaper. Hiring people, remote people here in the US actually doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I would rather to hire like 10 engineers in India than like two for the same price as like one or two in California, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, if I need to save money, and like I think every business needs to save money, they would rather to hire someone offshore, you know, for that.
That's what I heard like a year ago. So there is one, um, well, there's a lot of companies like that, but like, yeah, with this remote work, people in the US here were afraid, and actually some people, engineers, they were moving to like Mexico, Costa Rica,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody moved to Europe, and I still work at Amazon, and I still make this much, and I live in Spain, which is like twice less expensive than US, and my net worth or my income increased basically twice for the same amount of
Mm-hmm.
salary. Yeah,
Yeah.
not, yeah, that's a interesting thing.
Yeah, I might be mistaken, but there is a legal requirements for such companies, like big companies, especially to have specific amount of employees in the US. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think companies like top tier companies can hire all their employees remote, like outside of the US. I think it's like a legal restriction on that. But
Mm,
anyway,
yeah.
small startups uh, can easily do that, especially if some of founders are immigrant. Yeah, is
Oh
immigrant.
yeah, I see
Yeah,
that all the time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because they know culture. So
Right.
Indians usually hire people in India. I talked to the guy recently. He's from Bangladesh, and he hired people from Bangladesh, like Mexican
Yeah.
here, like hiring Mexican in Mexico, like for a cheaper price. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that make a lot of sense. Yeah, for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
You
people with
go
the
where
same
you know
culture. Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can
Yeah.
speak the same language and it's like cheaper. Why not? I don't want to deal with Americans, like super expensive Americans here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's now we are in the same category now, so
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Um,
Hmm.
okay. Well, yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about these things. That's great. Do you have any final advice for anybody who's on the job market today? Like what to do? Any advice at all?
Yeah, be patient because the job market right now, we're in 2024, it's still hard. It started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it's still hard. So that's why be patient. Don't consider like to find a job super easily, super quickly. So the average time for the job search right now is 6 months. So keep that in mind when you go on the market. That's number one. The second tip is prepare a lot. So as I mentioned before, all people who succeed in the job market and got great job offers prepared and trained a lot. They did a lot of work before. So job search is a job. So that's why you need to train, you
Yeah.
need to practice, you need to spend a lot of time like doing your prep work for that. And the last one, probably I would recommend work with kind of psychologist and work on your psychology because you have to present yourself. And sometimes you're discouraged. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you burn out. You hate recruiters. You hate these interviews. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to have like someone psychologist, like your coach, or maybe like your buddy, your, I don't know, partner, someone who will help you, who will encourage you to move forward. I'm not talking like exactly about partners, but because partners might be different. Sometimes partners can discourage, but like coach and psychologist definitely will encourage you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is a job to encourage you, to give you energy, to give you power to move forward. If you fall down, like get up and move forward, just move, do something. So if you can afford that, go to psychologist or coach. If you cannot afford that, find a friend, find a buddy, find a people who is looking for a job like you, partner with them, and support each other. So because it's hard, it's psychologically hard, especially dealing with a lot of rejections, and it's not pleasant experience.
Yeah, especially for those people who've been laid off recently or will be, who knows what's going to happen. This is really tough because you have to now quickly find something. It's not like somebody's employed who's just trying to switch jobs and they have a little bit of luxury of having an income. But for people who
That's
deal with layoffs, that's like double trouble.
That's true. I was laid off last year, and I was looking for a job for 3 months last spring. The market was like dead. So this is completely dead. And
Yeah.
I realized I could not afford uh, to look for the job because I'm a single mom. I have a daughter. I have to pay bills. So
Yep.
I pivot quickly to my business. I started like earning money differently. I started consulting businesses. I started recruiting. I started career coaching. I started like creating like webinars for people. So I started making money differently. So also, if you are laid off and you cannot find a job, this is not the only option for you to find make money. So think
Right.
like from the different angle on this problem. Maybe you dreamed about something long time ago, and there is a
Yeah.
chance for you, opportunity to start something new. Yeah, think about it. So everything
Yeah.
has a
Be creative,
purpose.
right?
Yeah. Everything has a purpose. So that's yeah, and support. It's very important to have support.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Great. That's great. Let's wrap up on this motivational note, and we wish everybody to be strong and find their next dream job. So, you know,
Even better. Yeah, with better
yeah.
salary.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, that was a handful of tips and suggestions. So thank you very much. I
Yeah.
think people will really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Vit, for inviting me. I enjoy talking to you.
Sure. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.